I used to get pretty much all of my clients or deals through relationships. The vast majority of these relationships were some way or another in person. And despite this, I've been running an online company for about 3.5 years. I'm now moving toward finding most of my clients online. I think many business owners find this really hard, and I know I did. I'm gonna talk you through basically how I'm doing it and how that shift is happening. I know that in-person really works well. I also know that some business owners don't even believe in online completely, but I wanna change that paradigm because online has a lot of benefits. And here's the thing, the reality is online versus in-person isn't actually that different. And I'm gonna explain why. At the end of the day, in-person is just a medium that we know a lot better. We know how to interact with people in person. We grew up doing it all our lives, right? So it's native to us. We understand that way, way better. There's more communication, there's body language, all those things. In-person is great. I'm not here to say it's not. So if I can raise trust faster in person, if I can do all that in person, why would I want to shift to online? Like, what's the point? What's the benefit there? There's a few things, but firstly, it's astronomically cheaper. Your cost per acquisition is generally far, far lower online because you don't have the costs associated with going to events, going to dinners, to drinks, to whatever. And granted, maybe some of those things are fun, but in general, it's just a lot cheaper. So from a pure business perspective, it's better online. The second thing is just 100 times more scalable. So you can scale your personal network through online things literally 1,000-fold your personal network in person, because your content and whatever can reach just so many more people without extra effort from you. And so that's really, really powerful. That's really the main argument for online. Also, the other thing is you become less physically dependent on a location. And so you also gain more location freedom, which is a big thing that a lot of people want nowadays, right? If you're able to get clients online, you can get clients online from London the same way you can in New York, the same way you can in Bali, the same way you can in Zambia if you want. As long as you've got an internet connection, you can basically get clients for your business. And so that's really, really powerful flexibility for a lot of people that people want. But that begs the question, how do we go about starting that? I had a really, really hard time doing this. Started doing cold outreach and all these things, and I failed miserably. Cold outreach is not terrible. I failed at it, and I just really, really struggled. The thing is, I'm talking about getting clients online through personal branding, because that's the same thing you do when you do it in person. When you do it in person and you use your face, your handshake, your mannerisms, and your conversation to get yourself a client, you are using your personal brand to get it. If you want to do that in an online way, fundamentally, it's actually the same process. The thing is, you need to build trust with people. In an event, if I go up to a stranger and I say, hey, do you want app development services? They're probably going to tell me to fuck off. I don't know who you are. Why are you speaking to me? Like, no context, no nothing. You don't even know my name. You just kind of walk up to me and say this. That's what it feels like to get a cold email. I've started using this kind of analogy even for myself, which is just like, imagine the online space is like this massive event. The truth is, the mechanism to get clients at this online thing is the same as an event. You have to build trust with people. The cool thing about doing stuff online is that you can give a talk or a speech by putting out a YouTube video or a LinkedIn post. You can put out content that anybody can consume. The way I think about it is like, imagine that basically you sign up to give a talk, you put a little sign on the door and it has your title and thumbnail basically, and it says, hey, I'm going to talk about this. If you're interested, you can walk in and you can watch me talk about this thing, and at any point you can leave. You can like kind of drop in, watch my speech, and leave. That is pretty much everything that happens in the online content space. It's people come in and they're at this event, they're browsing the different speeches that are going on, and they join one, they watch it for a bit, they go and they watch something else. The reason I kind of compare this to an event is because you have to build trust slowly the same way you do in person. You can't just walk up to somebody with no context, start asking them for things. It's weird. You're a weirdo. The reality is, to find clients online, you have to do the same thing that you do in person, and that is meet them, shake their hands, say their name. And when I say shake their hands, obviously you can't do that online, but it's like, just take the time to get to know them, interact with their thing. So if they do a speech, tell them what you like about it. If they post a piece of content, tell them what you like about it. The same philosophies that you apply to event networking, you apply in the online space. You have to build trust slowly. You have to make friends. I think this is just something that a lot of people struggle with. I know just because I've coached a handful of people in starting their own agencies, and many of them want to get clients online, but they're not willing to put in the work as if it were an actual event to actually get to know people and make friends and find some sort of community. I think the hardest challenge about starting online is there are so many communities, you don't know where to start. It's an event with literally billions of people at any given moment. And so that makes it really, really hard to know where to start to go with. But your main goal should be really just to find a corner of this place where you can make some friends and you can speak about things that you know about, that you can help people with. And over time, you will get to know people there. And so once you start making friends, once you start making those new relationships, that's really essentially how you can start getting clients. There is nobody who's just going to watch a piece of content and immediately become your client. That happens 1 in a billion times. For the vast majority of people consume your content repeatedly, which builds trust with them. them. That's the same mechanism that happens in person, which is we go out, we keep seeing each other at the same event, at the same group, the same networking party, whatever. And then eventually I shake your hand and I'm like, hey, yeah, I've seen you around like 6 different times, you know, and then we go out for a drink, maybe we go grab lunch with some other friends. And so you start building a relationship because of repeated exposure to that person. And then eventually they build trust in you and they're like, you know, I don't know, I need this design and I know that you do design. So why don't I go to you? Because I know you and I trust you. And so I don't have to go looking for some designer on Fiverr or whatever, because I know that I can trust you. And if I can pay your rates, I'd rather pay you because you're my friend than some stranger online. The only difference is that it takes a little bit more time to build trust because there is a screen between us. But the reality is you just want to make friends, whether it's in person, whether it's online. If you're trying to get clients through your personal brand, you need relationships. And relationships are friendships. It's using this like big ambiguous word. You just need to make friends. If you want to start selling people online, figure out how to make online friends. That's how I got my first deal. And then I stopped making online friends because I was a moron. And I spent 2 years trying to do cold outreach and events and all this stuff. I had no idea what I was doing. I lost time and money and made a bunch of other mistakes. And I talk about them in these videos every day. Eventually, I realized I'm a moron because the first thing that I did, which actually worked, I don't know why I stopped doing it. I thought that I was smarter than I was. And I started doing everything all at once. And, oh, you know, more lead gen channel. That's stupid. And so now I'm just getting back to that, which is trying to make relationships and friends online. And I think the best way that you can do that is by interacting with as many people as possible and just speaking on what you can and trying to help people. I figured I would try to speak on the lessons that I've learned over these past 3 years, the kind of things that I would tell myself if I was starting out or if I was facing the various challenges that I've faced along the road. One of which is obviously figuring out how to start getting clients online, which is not easy because it's very unintuitive because we're not used to making friends primarily online. Making friends in general is a skill set of itself, but compared to in person, it's the same thing. The mechanism isn't different. It's just getting clients, whether it's shaking their hand or opening up with a DM. You need to start with repeated exposure and slowly building trust and finding a community that you are going to build trust with that's going to start to know your name. If you're able to do that, it's really, really powerful because what you've just figured out is how to scale trust. If you can scale trust, you can scale sales. That part I know from a guy who runs like a $40 million a year company, not from me. And pretty much every other like salesperson I've ever met. Sales is a transfer of trust. If you can scale trust, you can scale sales and your company and do it well. If you want to scale trust with your name, it's just about getting more people to interact with you and helping them through whatever you post, providing something of value so that they know that the next time they click on a video of yours, yeah, this guy's interesting. On this particular topic, you might have something cool to say. As usual, feel free to comment any questions if you have them. I'll reply to as many as possible, but I'm going to leave it at that.